Hello and happy Friday, everyone. Oh, I was going to check the temperature before we started today because I wanted to let you guys know if it's ridiculous again. Hello and happy Friday, everyone. Oh, I was going to check the temperature before we started today. I wanted to let you guys know if it's ridiculous. Let me see what I've got running here. Hello and happy Friday, everyone. Oh, I was going to check the temperature before. In case you missed the first time I said it, I guess it's going to repeat for you. Okay, I think I've got everything muted now. All right, so let's check the temperature. We've had a little bit of a cool spell here. I think, oh, no. It's 106 today with a heat index of 111. I don't know if you can see that. I know I saw a thumbnail for a video on YouTube from Weatherman Plus or Ryan Hall, y'all, somebody today, that it's supposed to get cooler. It can't happen soon enough. I don't know if it has to do with the activity down in the Gulf. I think there's supposed to be a hurricane forming in the Gulf of Mexico right now that could hit somewhere down in Southeast Texas or along the coast there. But I'll take whatever we can get because it's just stinking hot and it's still so dry. I did get some video. I'll be putting up a video from the back pasture to let you see how awful the pond is. It's sad. I'm tempted to shut down our sniff spot because I know if I was visiting, now the people that have been here multiple times, I don't think it would bother them because they'll know what it usually looks like and they'll know that it just has to do with lack of rain. But anyone who's new to the property, I would be concerned if it was my first time to visit and I saw that awful, because it's kind of slimy looking. I know I'm having a hard time staying on track here because I'm picturing it in my mind as I'm telling you about it. And it's just kind of, again, slimy looking. There's a lot of algae because there's not much shade on the pond. So the sun hits it pretty directly, all day long. And it's just so dry. So I'm going to say the pond is probably down like 6 feet. It's about 8 or 9 feet, I think, at the deepest part in the center of the pond. And it's down so much that it just looks really sad. And I know a lot of dogs love the water. A lot of dogs that visit will swim in the pond, which is great when there's plenty of water in it. But even the ducks and geese don't want to go out there. There's not enough for them to swim in. Maybe right in the center they could swim without their feet touching the bottom, but to get out to the center, they just have to go through a lot of slime and muck and stuff that doesn't look real nice. So y'all pray for rain. We need some rain really big. And before we get going, I do have my friend Mary Jo in the green room ready to come on, but I want to introduce you to these dogs that are here. It's their first time boarding with us, and it's a whole family. So the 3 little dogs belong to the parents of the family, and then one of their grown children has a dog who's staying here as well. So they all knew each other before they came. And let me see if I can get them to come over here. Of course, they're all sleeping, and I hate to wake them up, but they're just so cute. I want you to see them. Tucker, Cooper, Max, come here. Come here and say hi. Come here and say hi. Come here, Max. Come here, honeys. Come here, honey. Come here and say hi. Oh, they don't want to do it. So we may do that later in the show, and that's probably silly to mess with a good thing since they're all sleeping. Nico, do you want to come over and say hi? Let's see if Nico will say hi. Come here, Nico. Nico's the big boy. Come here, baby. Come here. Can you say hi to everyone? Can you say hi? Oops. Come here. Come here. Come here, Nico. Come on the camera. Come here, honey bunny. Come here, honey bunny. Isn't he sweet? Yeah, that's good, isn't it? That's so good, isn't it? Okay, you can go back and lie down. I'm sorry. We shouldn't have awakened everybody. Oh, you gonna come over now? Come here, Tucker. Come here. Somebody come get in my lap. No one wants to get in my lap now? They were all in my lap earlier when I was getting everything set up to make sure. I hope everything's working, so you guys let me know. Let me know. Can you hear me? Does it look okay? Babies. No babies want to come get in my lap? Come here. Come here. Come here. You going to be camera shy? Okay, well, we're going to try it again later in the show because I want you to see them. I did post a couple of pictures on my community tab so you can see them. They're just super cute. And as I was sitting with them last night, it occurred to me that one reason I think they're cute is because I kind of think they look like Ewoks. Any of you Star Wars fans out there, you'll know what Ewoks are. Hello, Bud Files. Thanks for being here today. And so that's going to make me, even more enchanted by them because they make me think of something to do with Star Wars. Anyway, so what can I tell you before we get started today? We've already covered the fact that it's hot. I do want to show a video. I like to open these shows with a video. And this is just kind of to get things rolling, what I want the focus of today's video to be. Hey, Texas born and raised, how are you? And then we'll bring Mary Jo up and let her share some wisdom and education with us. And as usual, I'll have some graphics and some stats and things that'll go up on the screen. A couple of those I'm going to want to ask her about because I was really interested at some of what I learned when I was researching for today's show. But let's roll this video and then we'll get things going with Mary Jo.
Well, walking onto the ice, the way you would feel is you have 20,000 people cheering. It was just an incredible experience to step out on the ice. The music's pumping. I was always worried about getting scored on or worried about embarrassing myself or worried about not performing well enough for my teammates. I would describe it as something my brain just kind of broke. And I just started getting these thoughts, repetitive, deep, dark thoughts that I couldn't stop. Along with that came panic attacks, a lot of anxiety, depression, really just trapped in my own brain. And at one point I would make an attempt at my own life. I was ashamed, I was embarrassed, I felt like less of a man than everybody else. It wasn't fair to my teammates. I was late for practices, late for meetings. I was always trying to do everything I could to hide my mental illness from them because I didn't want them to know. Ultimately, if I was successful at taking my own life, every single one of them would have said, why didn't he come to me? Why didn't he talk to me? I was somebody that he could talk to. I was somebody that he could have reached out to. What helped me reach out, and the deciding factor is that I had two options. I could either end my own life or I could go get help. And I wanted to live. I was amazed that when I did finally reach out for help, that there was treatment available, that I had a diagnosable mental illness, that there was help for, and that I wasn't alone, and that I wasn't trapped in my own brain, and that I would get better, and that I would go on to lead a great life. We have a massive crisis going on with opioids and mental health right now, and it's heartbreaking. How I feel we can change that is by letting men know that it's okay to not be okay, that you can reach out and get help, but you have to be willing to tell somebody, you have to go and get the help. And there's no shame in asking for help. Talk to anyone, talk to your health professional. It can be a nurse, it can be anybody, a friend, a colleague, an adult, a teacher, anyone you trust. The important thing is that you do reach out and talk to somebody and ask them to help you. If someone reaches out to you, it's extremely important, and I tell everybody this, to be non-judgmental. Listening without judgment is probably one of the greatest things you can do for someone that's struggling with mental illness. Mental health issues are health issues and should be approached without judgment, shame, or blame. We are all in this together.
All right, so that might have been kind of a more focused concept there, but the objective behind all of these invisible illness streams, and today's stream in particular, is to raise awareness, remind people that there's help, remind people that they're not alone. And I just thought, I don't know, as I was going through videos to see, what might be most appropriate for today, that one really spoke to me. And partly it spoke to me because it's a man. I don't know yet. We'll talk with Mary Jo about this. If it's true, I'm guessing it is. I know, generally speaking, men are a little less inclined to go to the doctor for anything. So even if something's hurting or not working right, they're not as inclined to go to the doctor. They don't report it. It doesn't mean it's not happening, but they're less inclined to report it. And so I'm going to, kind of deduce that may be true true also for emotional or mental health issues. And so that this was a man, and that this was a successful man and a talented man and an attractive and articulate man. There's no one's protected. There's no immunity to, having mental health issues or needs related to mental health. And I hear some wrestling. I may need to text Richard and ask him to come check on the wrestling. I think it's just the babies playing, but I don't want to lose my focus like I just did to tell y'all that I hear wrestling. So hang on, I'm sending him a message. Now, you watch. Anytime one of us comes into a room after having been out of the room they're in, they bark. So we'll see when he comes through. They're great little watchdogs, and I would never have known that these little tiny dogs would be such great watchdogs. But they're great little watchdogs, so we'll see if when he comes in, if they start barking. Anyway, so back to that video. I just thought it was a good fit because that's the purpose of the shows. I want people to understand that no one is immune, that everyone needs help at some point, and it's okay to ask. It's a sign of strength. It's a sign of willingness to heal, to ask for help, to share your struggles. And I know, the struggles that I've recently shared here with all of you, the responses I've gotten have just been overwhelmingly positive. And I was so prepared for a lot of negative comments and a lot of just less than supportive comments. And that's not what I got at all. So I'm a believer, and I encourage any of you who are watching now, thank you for being here. And any of you who are part of the rewatch crew that will watch after the stream ends, I just want you to remember and know and not doubt that you're not alone and there is help. And I encourage you to find it, reach out, share with somebody, just like that hockey star just did. And so now, without further ado, I'm going to bring Mary Jo up. So Mary Jo, I always tell people, be sure you're not picking your nose or picking your teeth, or that your eyes aren't closed or your tongue sticking out or anything. And here she comes. Oh, let me turn off this banner first. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for being on today.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I sent out a handful of invitations to people that I've known for a long time, not knowing if people would be interested or available or all of the above. But I knew as soon as I started the brainstorming for this series that I wanted a mental health focus episode. And I've had a couple of other psychologists on the show. They both deal pretty much specifically with narcissism and trauma abuse related to that. And so I wanted something that's a little broader. If I understand correctly, you do a lot of trauma recovery work. So I would imagine that's kind of woven into any practice, counseling practice, because it's such a common issue. But I thought you could offer us even a broader just overview of what you do, how you help, how people can get help and find somebody that would be a good fit for them. But I'll let you tell everybody first, if you want to tell them how we know each other and how long we've known each other, and then where you are and how you got called into what you're doing now.
Wow. So, gosh, we've known each other for more than 40 years. Yeah. Gosh. Well, before
any kids.
Before any kids came on, before we got married, before either one of us. Yeah. So back in, Well, I'm trying to think now, because you met James in high school. Yeah.
Before I knew you, yes.
Yeah. So early 80s.
Yeah.
Late 70s. So yeah, a long time ago. Yeah. We were very, very good friends for a long time. Mm-hmm.
And so how did you end up where you are, what you're doing with your life now?
So I raised kids, and I did not go to college right out of high school. I got married when I was 21. No, I got married when I was 19. I had my first baby at 21. And so raised kids and all that good stuff. And then when I was 38, decided that, well, God called me into doing something else, and that was counseling. I didn't know at the time what I was really getting into, but did 6 years of full-time schooling, ended up with my master's degree, and then did 3 years of internship after that, 3,000 hours. And during that time, I was counseling. I was working at that, during that time. But since then, I've worked part-time mostly. I have not worked full-time in the field, but I love what I do. I really have focused in on trauma work mostly at this point. That's just kind of where God has put me. I do a lot of, I work with a lot of dissociative disorders at this point, but a lot of childhood sexual abuse, domestic violence, those kind of things.
Okay. And I know where you are geographically, but tell us
Yes.
where you are and where your office is. And
So I'm in Arlington. My office is at the Woodland West Church of Christ, and I've been there for almost 15 years now.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
And you have kids.
I have 3 grown children. They're all married. I've got 8 grandchildren, and they keep us very busy, and they're a lot of fun. Yeah.
And now that the kids are all grown, like, what do you do in your off time, your downtime?
So, even though I only work part-time, it feels like full-time a lot of the times, because a lot of times I end up talking to clients off hours, but we travel. We get to travel a lot. We're very blessed in that way. We've done a lot of traveling this year. My husband was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease last year, and so that has changed some things in our lives quite a bit, in just the retirement plan. And we had the bucket list of travel was about 5 years down the road, and we've ramped that up a little bit, moved that a little sooner, just because we're not sure what his health is going to look like here. Not sure what that's going to look like 5 years down the road.
Is he doing well, though? I mean, all things considered?
He is.
Okay.
All things considered, he's doing really well. He's been on medication that helped a lot, but and he's in really good health anyway.
Right.
And so he's doing really well. But
yeah, the funny story there, and I'm sure you know this. So I met him, unless I met him before the first time I remember meeting him, at the roller rink.
Yes.
That was the thing when we were kids. I guess Friday nights, maybe it was, you went to the roller rink and you just skated on Friday nights. And that's where I remember meeting him. But I don't know. We may have seen each other at a church function or something before then. I don't remember. But that's my first memory of meeting James.
Yeah.
So you say you focus. Guys. They're trying to get Gucci to play with them. Hey.
That just woke up my puppy.
So what kind of dog do you have?
A little Shih Tzu.
Okay. So in case you don't know, we board dogs here. So we've been involved in animal rescue for a long time. So we've got a rescue horse and a rescue mule. I've got some rescue ducks, and we've got all the cats here now are rescues. And then all of our German Shepherds are rescues that we got through Good Shepherd Rescue that's who we work with. And then we've got our regular border Gucci here, a golden doodle, and then the 4 dogs that are with us because their family's on vacation together. So there are always dogs here. That my whole life is filled with animals. Not that I'm complaining, but there's not a lot of downtime here. And there's often not a lot of quiet time. So I think they were just trying to get one of the other dogs to play with them. I'm going to put some stats up on the screen. Can you see? I'm going to put this first one up. And can you see that? I don't know. Were you on a computer?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you see something that's not right, obviously call it out and let us know that it's not right. But I try to find the most recent data I can find when I'm researching to put these graphics up on the screen. And some of them, again, that I came across were really interesting to me. And I thought I would ask you, for your experience, with these particular things. So as they come up, I'll just ask you some questions. But I wanted you to just tell us, because my invisible illness concept, when I thought about how that relates to mental health, I just know there are so many people that are struggling with depression or anxiety, or maybe even ADD and ADHD could fall into that category, because I know every now and then I'll learn about someone who is ADD or ADHD, and I would not have known it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known it. And my uneducated mind thinks that just means hyperactive and can't be still and talks a lot and has a lot of extra energy. And have just recently kind of come to learn that there are a lot of other offshoots of that are really struggles for the people that have to contend with those conditions.
Yes.
And so just those are kind of the things I think are like the everyday mental health issues or emotional health issues. And I thought maybe you could talk with us about some of those first. So maybe the things that you see most commonly, or that you've had the most experience with in treating and, you know, counseling people. And then I want to kind of shift into the more serious emotional or mental health issues. Again, the trauma, abuse, and just the things that maybe a lot of people don't have as much experience with. And yet I know that for every one person that might share that they've been through something, there are dozens of other people that they just can't bring themselves to talk about it or share it. And that's why I'm doing the show, because I want to get it out there. I want people to understand it's not a reflection on them,
right,
that they're struggling with these issues. So if you'll talk with us again, first kind of about your experience with what I consider the everyday issues, again, stress and anxiety and depression and OCD and, you know, ADHD and things like that. And then what your approach to therapy is. And we'll go from there.
So almost every diagnosis has a, you know, is on a continuum, that there's, you know, there can be mild, moderate, severe. And so you can have mild depression that may not impact your life all that much, but then severe depression that is debilitating. And so, you know, you can look at almost any of the, you know, more common, I guess, mental illnesses like depression or anxiety, and any of those can be debilitating. And, you know, severe OCD, people with severe OCD can be just completely debilitating to somebody. And so a lot of times it just really depends upon how severe the mental illness is. Some people are really, really good at just hiding those kind of things, and they can function in certain areas, but then are completely dysfunctional in other areas. And then when people find out that, oh, you suffer from that, what's up with that, or what do you do with that? People are a lot of times are just embarrassed, and they don't want other people to know, or they don't want people to know they're going to therapy. And sometimes that's why people don't want to get help, because what if somebody finds out? That's the stigma but the stigma about therapy has gotten so much better over the last probably 5 or 6 years, especially for men. I have quite a few male clients, and most of them have no problem coming to get help.
Good.
And wouldn't have a problem telling anybody that that's what they're doing.
Good.
It's certainly changed a lot. Now, our generation and probably older have a much more difficult time reaching out and getting help. And I think that's just an indication that, you know, back, you know, longer times ago, you just didn't do that.
Yeah.
You didn't reach out for help. And so you know, actually depression is one of the most difficult illnesses to treat. It really is. But depression and anxiety aren't things that just pop up out of nowhere.
Right.
There's something behind that. There's something underneath that. Where'd that come from? What's going on? The way we handle stress is the bigger issue with stress. It's, how are you handling your stress? If you're handling it okay, if you're functioning well and you're able to handle what's going on, we're all going to have stress. But it's how you're handling that makes the bigger difference. And that's how you handle it is going to be an indication of how functional are you, how healthy are you, and where are you coming from? What's your experience been? And people who have traumatic things from their past have a difficult time functioning well and have a difficult time handling stress well. And a lot of times that's where depression and anxiety comes from.
Now, I said at the beginning of the show that my perception is that men are less inclined to seek help or share so that they can get help or support. Is that true? And do you have...
I think it is. I haven't looked at any statistics on that recently, but I do believe that, that's probably still very true. Because the majority of my clients are females.
Okay.
I think there still is that stigma that men have to be strong and that they, don't reach out for help, shouldn't need to get help for any kind of mental illness at all.
Right.
But I think that is changing and has been changing, especially with younger people.
What's your take on what has helped it change?
I think just knowledge.
Okay.
I think there's been so much more out there that that makes it okay. I think there have been a lot of especially celebrities who have talked about their own therapy experiences and have made it okay to seek help and to reach out for help. And even the availability of mental health services. There are more counselors out there today than there ever have been.
Okay.
There's still a great need, and there are more male counselors out there today than ever before, but we still need more. There's a huge shortage of male counselors, and there are a lot of men who are more likely to go see a male counselor.
Okay.
Some of them don't care,
Okay.
but I've run into a lot of them who would be much more comfortable with a male counselor.
Okay. And do you see all ages of... Okay. So do you have a focus on a certain demographic?
I see adults. I will see older adolescents, usually 16 and up.
Okay.
I've seen some a little bit younger than that, depending upon what the issue is. Usually if it's sexual abuse, then I'll see them.
Okay.
But usually if it's something else, probably not.
Okay. And I missed some hellos. Hello, Vicki Alcorn. Hi, Connie Cleary. Sweetheart, how are you? Dancing Alone with Reynolds, how are you? I think I caught the Bud Files on the way in Texas Born and Raised. Thank you guys for being here today. That kind of leads me, when you talked about just the availability of counselors and services, do you, are you in any of the like online Better Health and those things that are being promoted on social media? Do you do any of those things? And what do you think? Do you think those really are as effective? Are they... it seems like it's a great match for some people, but I wonder what could be missing without the face-to-face, same room kind of interactions. So what are your thoughts on that?
I don't do anything like that. I have done telehealth. I do telehealth with some clients. Okay. When COVID hit, we all went to telehealth. There were some of my clients that I never stopped seeing in my office. That my dissociative clients, I there's I I cannot work with them online. It doesn't work well. I need to see their entire body. I need to see body
Okay.
language. Um, it just it just doesn't work as well. I know for some folks, the the availability of being able to do telehealth is fantastic because some people
Oh,
live
yeah.
out
Yeah.
in places
Heard
where
about
there
you.
aren't any counselors. In rural areas, you know, it's fantastic to have that avenue of being able to reach out and get help.
Right.
And so I think there is a place for it. I have some colleagues who that's all they do, that they started doing online during COVID, and they haven't gone back to in office.
Okay.
And it works for them, and they have clientele that love it, and so that's good. Um, now I'll see clients if it's helpful when somebody doesn't feel great, but you know still wants to have a session. Then we'll have a session online and not meet in my office. But
Okay.
the majority of my clients I'm seeing in my office,
So
and I prefer face to face.
okay. And I'm intrigued because I'm a big fan. Like, I watch a lot of the body language, like the behavior panel here on YouTube, and observe, and those people that will kind of analyze uh, like criminal cases and testimony and stuff, and they pick up on things that the regular Joes don't pick up on. And that's interesting that you would talk about how important it can be to assess more than just what the person is saying or what their eyes are showing. So how do you learn that? Is it just something that over time, I feel like you probably have kind of always had a knack for that anyway, but for the regular counselor out there, how is that something that you learn to incorporate into your assessments and treatment plans as far as just body language and interpreting nonverbal?
Well, I think we learn our individual clients because
Okay.
everybody's different. Um, for my dissociative clients, I can tell, like for DID, I can tell who's with me, if they're switching, but just by their body language.
Okay.
Um, other clients, if they make a certain movement or some kind of facial expression or so, I'm like, what's going on there? Tell me what's going on there. And they
Okay.
may not have said a word, but something happened, and I can tell it by just what they did, a movement in their body or something. And or did they suddenly become really tense? What happened? Something happened right there.
Okay.
And a lot of times people aren't aware of their bodies as much as they need to be. And so we work with somatic a lot in being aware of your body. You need to be aware of what's going on in your body. That's going to tell you a lot and give you a lot of information.
Okay.
And so helping people to learn that, become more aware of that. And so I get to know my clients well, and I get to know their body language, their individual body language well.
So it's not something necessarily that's taught. Like, you don't take a class on
There probably
body language. I mean, they don't call it body language.
No, but there probably was something in one of my graduate classes that we talked about all that kind of stuff. But I don't think there's a universal, well, when somebody does this, it means that.
Okay.
Because everybody's different and unique, and everybody has their own little quirks, and I think that's where as clinicians we learn what our clients
Are telling you without telling you? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And so how do people find you? How do you get matched up with someone? Like, what's the first, typically you get a phone call from somebody, someone finds your website. What usually happens for you?
When I first started my practice, I I just went around to different churches in the area, introduced myself, and said, "This is what I'm doing." And I also was connected to a psychologist here in Arlington who took me under her wing and mentored me, and she was gracious and referred quite a few people to me. And so I built my practice that way. I've never advertised. I do have a website, um, and
I have that website link in the description for the video, guys.
But I get referrals from former clients, from other clinicians, from friends. I've never advertised because I've never had to.
Okay.
I haven't taken a new client in almost a year now because I haven't had space for anybody new.
Okay. And have you ever had to tell someone that you're not a good match for them?
Yes.
Okay. Is there like a primary thing that comes up that makes it not a good match, or I'm sure it's a case by case thing, but like most often, what would make someone not a good client for you?
I don't work with addiction.
Okay.
If it's something that I don't work with on a regular basis, then I'm going to send somebody somewhere else where they're going to get the help that they need.
Okay.
And, I don't have a problem doing that. And, I want people to get the help that they need.
Okay.
And so if it's somebody who's struggling with a substance addiction, if that's their primary diagnosis, then I'm going to send them to somebody who can really help with that, because that's not something that I specialize in.
Okay.
Now I have people that have addictions like that, but that's not their primary.
Okay. And I want to say hi to Tiffany at Canadian Family Life. And I think I saw Nancy at our Treasured Home come in. Thank you guys for being here today. This is my guest, Mary Jo Cochrum. And we are getting information and raising awareness about mental health, emotional health, and how to get help, and reminding people that they're not alone. It's not a sign of weakness to reach out. And there is help available. It doesn't matter what you're struggling with. There is help available. So thank you all for being here today. Do you have like a mission statement or a practice philosophy that can easily be put into words, or is it just too all-encompassing to be able to share that?
There's probably something on my website. I haven't looked at my website in a while, though. Now that you say that. I want, in the work that I do, I want to help everybody to be able to get to a place of healing. And it's not what I'm doing that gets them there. It's the work that they do. And my clients work really hard to get to a place of healing. I'm just simply there to walk with them through it. I don't give advice. I'm there to help people discover how to get to that place of healing. It takes a tremendous amount of courage for someone to make that call and to walk into my office.
Right.
And, I make sure everybody knows that. I make sure they know it when they walk in the door. I make sure they know it when they make the phone call. Because that can be really, really hard. And just to make it comfortable for people to come in and make sure that they know, I know this is hard. Because I've been on the other side. I've been on the other side of the couch. I've been the client. I still have a therapist that I go see. And I love her, and she's wonderful. And otherwise, I'd be a little crazy myself. So
I really appreciate you pointing out that it's not the therapist that does the work. Because I suspect there are a good number of people that think that's how it goes. Mm-hmm. That you find somebody, they tell you what's wrong with you, then they tell you how to fix it, or they fix it. And that could be why some of these things linger so long, because the work on the client's end isn't necessarily being done. And so that's just a great reminder that, you guide people, you help them see what they need to see.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you tell them, you're not telling them, well, here's what's wrong, here's what you need to do.
Right.
But I think a lot of people think that's how it goes. That's Mary Jo's website on the screen, guys. I did post that link in the chat. So if you want to pay her website a visit, feel free to do that. And then this little set of graphics that are coming up now, this is from the National Institutes of Health. And this first one is one of the ones that was interesting to me. So I had never even heard of the terms any mental illness and serious mental illness, but I think it's in line with what I was sharing earlier about, depression and anxiety and OCD, the things that I kind of think of like everyday things. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing would be more in the any mental illness category. And mm-hmm. then the way this website, the National Institute of Health website, went on to describe then serious mental illnesses like schizophrenia and I can't even remember, but other serious ones, things that I think everyone would agree, probably dissociative identity disorder, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's not just an everyday thing. But I was intrigued at these numbers because some of them just seemed so high. So this stat here says in 2021, there were an estimated 57.8 million adults aged 18 or older in the United States with any mental illness. This number represented 22.8% of all U.S. adults. That seems astronomical to me. I'm not questioning it because, again, I figure that for every one person that's been diagnosed or has sought out help, there are dozens of people that would have the same diagnosis or the same needs, and they just don't know to get help. They don't realize that there's a problem. They don't understand the level of their dysfunction or severity of their problem. And so I guess I'm kind of asking you to validate that. Is that legit? These numbers really are that high?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And is that true that for each person represented in this kind of a statistic, there are multiples? There are many, many more that could be in these numbers, but they're not getting help or they just haven't been diagnosed.
Yeah.
That's sad. And then this went on to tell me that the prevalence of any mental illness is higher among females than males. Do you think that's true, or just, again, that females are more likely to go and get help and be diagnosed?
I think it is just that females are more likely to go get help. And so I think that's just the report of, of the statistics show, because more females have reported with diagnosed mental illness. I think there's just as many males with mental illness as there are females. They just aren't reported.
Okay. And so in your practice, is there a way you can kind of break down this percentage really is related to, again, the everyday stuff, depression, anxiety, OCD, and I might even be listing those wrong. Maybe OCD is not considered an any mental illness. Maybe, again, it could be based on the severity. I would imagine if somebody had OCD to the point that they're not even functional, then maybe it's a little more like a severe or a serious mental illness. But in your practice, do you see more of these everyday kind of things, depression, anxiety, hyperactivity, whatever? Or do you feel like you see more of the DID or the more serious things?
In working with trauma, almost, the majority of my clients have PTSD.
Okay.
And, almost everybody has, I think everybody has comorbid diagnoses because almost everybody's got PTSD.
More too complex to just be a single, yeah.
Exactly. So there's PTSD, which there's going to be anxiety with that. There's, a lot of times there's depression with that. Sometimes there's a diagnosable dissociative disorder, maybe, just depends. Anytime there's been trauma, there's going to be some kind of diagnosable mental illness there. Depression and anxiety just seem to be those. It's kind of weird. I kind of look at them as the little it's almost like the little add-ons. If there's trauma, and I guess that's just because I work with trauma all the time, that it's almost like that's a given.
Okay. There's going to be
Like,
anxiety,
okay,
depression, and
yeah, it's almost like what's going to be our primary diagnosis. Then it's almost like we're going to see depression and anxiety in there somewhere.
okay. So trauma's like the basket, and inside the basket is all these other little things you can pull out.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's, but then you have things like major depressive disorder, and it really depends upon your approach to counseling, to therapy. I'm an EMDR certified therapist. I don't know if you're familiar with what EMDR is.
Eye movement, something.
Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing.
Okay. Yes.
And so I'm always, when I see depression, when I see somebody come in with depression or anxiety, those are their two main, that's one of those that's their symptom. I'm just depressed. Okay, well, why are you depressed? There's got to be a reason for that. Well, this, or I'm almost always looking for, where did that come from a long time ago? There's almost always something from.
Yeah, it started somewhere.
Yeah, almost always. So.
This comment from Dancing Alone with Reynolds: all I've seen is people with problems all around me. I would imagine that the number of people who don't need some help are few and far between. Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier, that for every one person that recognizes they have a problem or acknowledges a problem and seeks help for it, there've got to be dozens of others that they either don't even realize they have a problem or they're not willing to see it and share it.
Right.
Which is, again, these statistics were just so sad to me because of my perception that that's true, because of my perception that for every one diagnosed person, and part of that came from some of the other shows we've done. I think when I did my diabetes and Crohn's disease show, there were statistics that, said X number of people in the US have been diagnosed with diabetes, but there are another approximately whatever millions and millions of people that haven't been diagnosed yet. Mm-hmm. And I thought, to me, that's dangerous. Yeah. Aside from the fact that it's sad, that's just dangerous that there could be people struggling and hurting and not as functional and productive as they could be because they're not getting help for whatever reason. I'm not here to point a finger or blame why someone's not getting help. It's just sad to me. I want to do something about that. I want people to know that something can be done about that. And then we got into some more of these statistics that I'll put on the screen for you. I think I showed that one. This one was not a surprise to me, although I was encouraged to read this last part about age 50 and older seem to have the lowest, issues with any mental illness. But then this one really intrigued me about, and again, this was just the any mental illness. I don't think I've gotten into the serious mental illness that the NIH had statistics for. But I don't know what to do with this when I was reading about the prevalence based on ethnic background, or I guess I'm saying that the right way. And I wondered, again, how that might fit in your practice. Do you also see a particular nationality, ethnic background, I don't know how to say it really, where the prevalence of some of these issues is higher?
I think just looking at that statistic you have there, to me, that's a cultural thing.
Okay.
Because when you look at the Asian culture and even the Native American culture, that's not a culture that's very
open. They're not very,
not very likely to go seek help.
Interesting. Which is, I'm not going to say it's good or bad, but that seems sad to me because I don't know what that would have to do with, we're all human. So, I'd love to think it means that some of the cultures, do handle stress better, or they do find ways to work around the impact that it can have
Well,
on.
but there's, and also, even just looking at those two cultures, even there's a lot of family support a lot of
Okay.
times, and a lot of generational living
Okay.
a lot of times. And
So they're
so,
kind of getting some therapy right there in
yeah,
their
yeah,
home system.
when
Okay.
you have multiple generations living together, kids learn from mom and dad, they learn from grandma and grandpa,
Okay.
a lot of times. And I think you can also look at what's the divorce rate in those cultures as
Okay.
well.
Interesting.
So I think there's multiple reasons for a lot of that. I think it's difficult to pinpoint one or another.
Oops.
We can get into trouble when we start trying to
Well,
superimpose different.
well, and again, I just don't know how there would be one reason for any of it, because
No.
everybody's so different. So even within the Asian, community, for example, I'm
Mhm.
sure there are people that don't fit that statistics. I'm sure
Right.
there are some
Right.
families where there are lots of serious problems, and as
Mhm.
people have become more westernized, I would imagine maybe the problem's even gotten bigger. Maybe they're
Yeah.
moving away from those family support systems, and
Yeah.
but again, some of these stats just really stressed me out to
Yeah.
see these. And I became really intrigued at the connections again between age groups and cultural ethnic backgrounds and the prevalence of some of these conditions. And uh, it's made me want to learn more about it. Uh,
Mhm.
and anyway, I just thought you could, again, kind of validate those statistics for me, because I'm just disheartened by those numbers that it just seems so high. And I know that's still not the whole story. Um, I did want to ask you too, then I had some questions for you, and you can share anything else you want to share with us too. But since I talked about having all the dogs here, and I know you have a dog, I thought maybe you could talk to us about how having those kind of outlets helps or hurts or contributes or takes away from mental health in general.
Mhm.
So pets is the first thing on my list.
Oh,
Having
yeah.
pets.
Yeah, and it depends upon what your outlook on pets is. But I mean, people have therapy dogs, and I've got a number of colleagues who have therapy dogs that they bring to their office. My dog's name is Finley, and she goes to the office with me some. She is not a trained therapy dog. She's a little out of control sometimes, but my clients love her because she's 2 years old. And when she was a puppy, I would take her with me. And so my clients got to know her, and she's really good with everybody. And so, but they love her, and she'll go crawl up on the couch with them and sit there with them. And most everybody just loves to sit there and pet her. And it really, there's statistics that show that people who have pets can sit there and if they're petting a dog, their blood pressure goes down,
Huh?
their heart rate goes down. And so pets are good for us. And I mean, I've got a adolescent client who brings her cat with her sometimes, not every time, but she always has to make sure I don't have the dog there. But her cat is what helps her anxiety.
Nice.
And then even equine therapy is wonderful. I've got a number of clients who go to equine therapy, and that's been really good for them. Animals just have an intuition about us.
Huh?
Finley knows when I've had a bad day. She will come over and lay on my feet, or want to get up in my lap or something like that. And animals just can sense that in us, and so I think
Do
they
you
can be really helpful.
and do you feel like sometimes when she's with you, or your clients bring their therapy animals with them, do you feel like they're more comfortable being open?
Mhm. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So how
Mhm.
nice. How
Mhm.
nice. So is that something you feel like should be more standard practice? Is it even fair to ask that? You feel like more therapists then, counselors, would benefit by maybe having an animal, if it's the right animal.
Yeah, and I think it depends upon the clientele, because there are some people who really don't care for animals.
Okay, true.
And you've got to have an animal that is, when you have that client who comes in and doesn't want the dog up there, you've got to have an animal that's okay with not going over there.
Right.
So that's why you've got to have a well-trained dog. Most dogs.
Yeah, I don't know if I've thought of someone having a therapy cat.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Although I can attest to that too, that the cats here will often know if I'm down or if I'm sad about something or I'm stressed out about something, and they want to just be extra cuddly.
Yeah.
And they don't feel like they're as open about it. Like the dogs seem to act like they're trying to distract me.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. The cats are more like, I'm going to remind you that I love you. I'm going to remind you that I think you're awesome. And they just want to be close. And, but I hadn't ever thought of a therapy cat, like literally someone that saw their cat as a support system like that. So that's interesting to me. I was aware of equine therapy. I've been aware of that for a long time. And I don't know if our equines are therapeutic or not. I love spending time with them, and they are definitely very emotionally in tune.
Yes.
Me. Very. Like to the point that I've sometimes felt almost guilty because I'm having a bad day and I'm frustrated. And then their behavior toward me is different. And I'm thinking, oh, okay. Because they know I'm not in a good mood. So they're pointing out to me that life is okay. You need to snap out of it. And we still need you. And so, and along with that, so when we lost a horse years ago, our remaining horse that we still have now was just beside himself. And again, I knew they were emotional creatures, but our vet even, cautioned us and said, you just really need to watch him because he can hurt himself or he can starve himself. They can experience grief to that degree that something terrible could happen to them. And until I saw it happening with him, wow. But then the dots kind of connected for me, and I began to appreciate and understand even more how effective equine therapy can be for people, because they're just really that emotionally connected to their families or their herds or, whatever other living beings they share their space with. Okay, so that's good about pets. Diet and exercise. How do diet and exercise play into mental health or the lack of mental health? I mean, I think I know some of these, but I just want you to validate and enlighten us and remind people how these things are all connected.
Diet and exercise are huge. I mean, self-care. That's part of good self-care. Exercising can be a huge boost to our mood, releases endorphins, which is what makes us feel good. And so regular exercise is great for us. And it doesn't have to be something, you don't have to go out and run 5 miles. Go take a walk. It doesn't take a lot to exercise. A 10 or 15 minute walk can be really, really helpful. I know it's 106 degrees out today, but you can get up early and go take a 15-minute walk. Eating well, eating good foods that are good for you. And that doesn't mean you deprive yourself of some of the good stuff every now and then, but eating things that are good for you is really essential to our good mental health as well. I like your graphic there. Yes. Sleep.
Yeah, and I found that after I came up with my list of things I wanted to ask you about, because I started researching, what things contribute to mental health or lead to poor mental health. And this picture came up and I thought, yes, this is the kind of stuff I'd love for you to, again, it's not that I don't believe it, but I feel like if people can hear it from someone that they know really knows, it goes a lot farther than me saying it or me just putting this graphic up on the screen. So I thought this was really neat. And
sleep Sleep is a huge thing as well. So I think we underestimate how important sleep is to our mental health. Making sure that we get adequate sleep and good sleep and not oversleep is really, really important. That's something I ask clients about regularly is how are you sleeping? If somebody's having nightmares regularly, then that's not a good thing. Let's find out what's going on there. But, and if you're sleeping too much, that's not a good thing. And so making sure that your sleep is good quality sleep and that it's not too much and it's not too little is really, really important.
All right. Now, this is kind of a big one. Social media. How does social media, because I have some negative opinions about social media. I think it can be great. I've seen it do amazing things. I believe in the power of it to do amazing things, but it's not necessarily what it primarily represents, I don't think. And I can't imagine, knowing the kind of hangups and traumas I went through as a kid, I cannot imagine how I could have survived if Facebook and all of this stuff had been around then. That I feel like would have just made me feel even more alone and more weird and more defective because of what so many people tend to do with social media. And so, from a professional, clinical perspective, how does social media fit into either contributing toward mental health? Or now, I know you already touched on that it's been a blessing that like celebrities and some people that we see on social media have been more open about therapy and the struggles they've had and how they're working through it with a professional. But I don't know that that represents the majority of what I see on social media. And so I don't know how much help that, I don't know how many people can be helped by that, because I don't think the majority of people that are on social media or are looking at social media, even if they don't participate in it themselves. I know you already know where I'm going with this, and this is, I'm passionate about this. I've really tried to make the channel something that is for education and inspiration and encouragement, because that's just not what I feel like the majority of social media content creators are doing with their platforms. But tell me, from your experience and understanding, how does that fit in? What place should it have? What place does it have? And
I think social media can be incredibly dangerous, especially to kids and teens, because they just don't have, their brains are not developed enough to be able to discern and know what's real and what's not. And even as adults, adults struggle with, oh no, their life is so much better than mine, because all they see is that 3% that's stuck out there on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever they're looking at. And if adults struggle with that, kids certainly struggle with that, and they just don't have the capacity to even tell the difference. And so, I mean, I've had adolescent clients who, I mean, I had a couple that have actually attempted suicide because of stuff that was put out on social media about them. And so it's incredibly dangerous. I think number one, parents have got to be diligent about what their kids, what apps their kids are on, what they're using in social media. They've just got to be on there knowing what their kids are doing. As adults, we have got to watch what we're doing and what we're putting out there and what we're believing. And we need to do some reality checks every now and then. And what's real life? Sometimes, most of the time, social media is not real life. And so to recognize that and to know this isn't what real life is about, and to distance ourselves from that, I think can be really helpful. Is there a place for it? Yes, I believe there's a place for it. but I do believe that it can be incredibly dangerous, and we have to be very, very careful with it.
Okay. And then the last thing I had on my list is, how does faith, how does spirituality fit in with mental health? Now, I know some people have a perception that it's a sign that they're not good enough, or they're not close enough to God, or they don't pray enough, or they start marking things off the list that they perceive about themselves. But I'm just wondering how, again, from your perspective and in your practice, where do those fit in? How do those help? How do those hinder?
So and that's a very individual question for each client. It really depends upon what that client needs and where they're coming from. I've worked with, I work with people from every faith background. I've worked with atheists as well. Even though my office is in a church building, that doesn't mean that I only work with Christians, which has actually been an incredible blessing. I enjoy working with a diversity of people. But there are people who have experienced huge church hurt. And so spirituality is difficult. And so working on the trauma from church, from spirituality, from even God, that's the perceived hurt, is important. And so it can play a good role. It can play a really challenging, difficult role. For some people, spirituality is a huge boost, is really helpful. It really just depends upon the way the client is looking at it and what their view is and where they're coming from.
Okay. That's interesting that you don't just see Christian people, because I consider you a Christian counselor, but I guess maybe that just means that your philosophies come from that, not that it's for those people.
Yeah. I counsel from a Christian worldview.
Okay.
And anybody I work with, I make that clear. That's where I'm coming from. I don't make everybody, I do what my clients need.
Okay.
If somebody doesn't want Bible verses and all that, that's not what I do. I'm not going to throw that at somebody if that's not what they need or want. Like I said, I've worked with, I don't know how many, several clients who were proclaimed atheists.
Okay.
And that told me right up front, I don't want any of that Bible stuff.
Okay.
Okay, I've got Bible verses on the walls in my office.
Okay.
And that's fine, no problem. And we worked on what that client needed in their time, and that was fine. We had great rapport and did some really good work. So I give my clients, I do with my clients what they need, and that's what we're there for.
Nice.
Just counselors.
I want to say hello to Akashi Chris. Thank you for being here. Akashi's like my kindred spirit here on YouTube. Do you have, I don't know, like top three tips? Maybe if it's more than three, that's okay. But if there's someone watching this, either right now or somebody that's going to watch it, after the stream ends, watch it next week or whatever, do you have top three tips that if you're struggling or you think you're struggling, what do you do? Top three things to do to get out of your struggle, or to face your struggle, or get help?
Start talking to somebody, anybody. You don't have to go to a counselor right away, but talk to somebody and just make it known that you're struggling with something. And maybe that person can help you to find somebody that can professionally help you.
Okay.
So many times when we just start talking about what is there, that can be such a huge relief. That's probably the biggest word that I hear, because I always ask people, after their first session, they come back and I'm like, so how did you feel after the first session? That's the word I hear most often, relieved.
Okay.
I felt relieved. I haven't ever told anybody about that. And that felt like such a relief to get that out.
Interesting.
And so just start talking about it. Chances are there are people who have experienced the same thing or are experiencing the same thing. And you're going to be able to, somebody's going to relate to you. Somebody's going to be able to, whether they can help you or not, just somebody hearing you and listening to you. And if the first person you talk to doesn't seem to care or doesn't want to hear it, go find somebody else.
Okay. Talk about it. Number one,
Talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a number two tip?
If you want to find somebody, to find a professional, oh my gosh, there's so many resources, and it really depends upon what you are looking for. Are you looking for a Christian counselor? Are you looking for somebody who specializes in trauma? What are you looking for? Google, do a search, there are counselors all over this area. There are a lot of really great, a lot of churches have counseling centers. There are a lot of, there's a lot of counselors in private practice. There are a lot that just counseling clinics that are in groups. There are lots and lots of different options for finding a professional to work with you.
All right. And if anyone in the chat has questions for Mary Jo, feel free to share those. We'll pick her brain a little bit more. So I know you have a website, but are you on other social media? As far as your practice?
I do have a Facebook page. I don't keep up with it.
Okay.
Probably a really bad thing to say.
Okay.
That's not my strength.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries at all.
That's not my strength.
Okay.
Yeah.
No worries. It's just something I like to ask because I think in this day and age, some people are more comfortable reaching out through one of those other platforms than to make a phone call or send an email. So
I know there's a contact form on my website.
Yeah, I want to put that link back up again if I can find it. Again, there is Mary Jo's website. You can reach out to her there, or if you know someone. Again, she's in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Her practice is in Arlington, which is where I grew up. That's how she and I know each other from our time at Woodland West Church of Christ in Arlington. And so if you've got a friend or you yourself are in the area and you need help, you can go to her website. Phone numbers are there. Contact form is there. And it's a start. Again, she may refer you to someone else that can hone in a little bit more on what it is specifically that you're dealing with. But it's a start. And as I've shared with you guys before, I am a phone call or an email away. If anyone ever needs to talk with me about something, you guys have been so gracious and generous in letting me get some things off of my chest. I can attest to that, how it feels to just finally say words, get them out of your head, out of your heart, out into the world, on paper, on video, whatever, get them out of you. And it gives you almost like a third person view sometimes, so that the emotional part comes out of you, and then maybe it's a little easier to see and process and assess. Where are you? What are you feeling? What is it you're looking for? What's your objective here? I know journaling, I've gone through phases where I've journaled things, and it's that same thing. It gets it out of where it's hurting and festering and growing and swelling, and it gets it out. It's relief. It's like emptying a full bucket of unpleasant, smelly stuff. And then there's relief. And then sometimes you can see it and process it a little bit more easily because it's not hurting inside quite so much. I know that may not work for everybody, but Again, my email address, you can contact me. Email address is on the About page for the channel. And if you ever need me, you send me an email. I'll send you my phone number if you want to talk. I've made a lot of friends here that we text, we chat, we talk. I've had some people reach out to me and tell me they're struggling with something. It's very gratifying. I don't know that I can say I'm qualified for that kind of a thing, but I just think it's part of our purpose here is to lift each other up and encourage each other and support each other, because we're not different. We're not that different. People think we're different. And again, Mary Jo touched on, what you see online, what you see in social media or in a video is like 3% of reality. It's just I think about the story of when the kids were little. Ty was about 3 and I was mopping the kitchen floor and he asked me, "Who's coming over?" Because not that I didn't try to keep a clean house, but I realized pretty quickly, having that many kids that close together, that I didn't have that many kids that close together just so I could walk around behind everybody cleaning and picking up and making sure things were spotless. But it wasn't that anyone was coming over. It was just time to mop the kitchen floor. But his perception was that it was a special occasion. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, you know what? That's good in a way, because he's not going to grow up thinking that my primary focus when they were little was, let's make sure everything is clean. Let's make sure everything is put up. Let's make sure that there's no apple juice on the kitchen floor, to stick to when you walk through barefoot. But the point of that is just that, yeah, sometimes, if somebody was going to come over, I might make a little more effort. And then there were people like you. I know you saw the baskets of laundry and the stuff that. And then my thought was, well, if someone doesn't know me well enough that they would form some sort of negative opinion or perception of me because of those things, I can't sweat that. I can't sweat that, because there's more to me than the laundry that's not put up, more to me than the half a piece of bread maybe that I didn't notice one of the kids dropped on the floor. So I just want to remind everyone that, you have to work to discern fantasy from reality. Mm-hmm. And that's really hard to do. And it's become harder and harder to do as we've gotten older. The line is so blurred. You can't go to the movies anymore. So I love the old 50s black and white sci-fi monster movies. They're so cheesy. They're so fake. And yet I know when they came out, people were horrified. People would watch those movies in the theater and just be horrified. Now you go to a movie and like someone gets killed and it looks real. And I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. It's so much harder to see where the line is. And social media has certainly taken advantage of that. And, again, not knocking what other people might do on their platforms. Some people make a living off of what they do, and there's some place for the entertainment value of some of it. But yeah, it's real hard if you're struggling to not feel like it says something about you. Mm-hmm. If you don't match up with this thing that looks so glamorous and perfect and beautiful and exciting all the time. So just know that, I haven't got it all figured out, but I'm sure here to help you find somebody that will help you figure it out if that's what you need. I don't see questions. Is there anything else you want to leave us with before you go?
Don't hesitate to get help if you need it. And because there's help out there, and there's always a place where you can go to find help. And, I don't know where all your listeners are, where all the listeners live.
They are all over. I think everybody here in the chat today, no, because Canadian Family Life, if Tiffany's still here, she's in Canada. I mean, I have viewers in Australia and the UK. And
that's awesome.
So I don't know that many or any of them are geographically close, but I know that through connections, there's always a possibility that they'll know someone close to here, and they may be chatting at some point, and they may say, you know what? Kathy just had a friend of hers on the show that's in that area. You should reach out to her, and she can help put you in touch with somebody, if she's not the one.
Yeah. So there, I mean, so I mentioned that I'm a EMDR certified therapist. So there is a network of EMDR therapists, and it is worldwide. And so you can find the list of those therapists on our EMDRIA website.
Okay.
And that's EMDRIA. It's EMDRIA.org.
Okay.
Do you want
Is
me to
that
put?
is that a relatively new therapy?
It's been around 30 years or so.
Okay, it's older than I realized then.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, there's been a lot of research done on it. And so, it's solid. I think at first, when it first came out, I think there was a lot of skepticism about whether or not it was effective. But the first studies that were done on it were mostly done on PTSD or with veterans. And since those, and that's been very effective. I mean, the VA loves what EMDR therapists do.
Okay.
Since those, there are so many other protocols that we use for depression and anxiety and OCD and just, I mean, everything that it and it's incredibly effective. It's wonderful.
Well, I've always been one to think that maybe not everyone would respond, but there is a group. Who knows? There could be some other kind of novel therapy out there that it may not work for a lot of people, but
Right.
then there's that handful of people that it changes their lives. So
Yeah.
who's to say,
Mhm.
what really is the best treatment? So I'll
Yeah.
have to look more into that too, because again, I don't know a lot about it. I
Mhm.
did see that you're an EMDR certified therapist on your website, and that again piqued my interest, but I just haven't researched it yet. But there's another resource for you guys if you or someone you know could benefit from some help that way. And hello, Nick at Multi Hunter 24/7. How are you? Thanks for being here today. Well, that's all I had for you. I am honored and thrilled that you are on the show. I think this is probably going to wrap up my Invisible Illness series. I don't have anybody else lined up yet. I still have some emails out there, so there's always a possibility that I'll be interjecting more of these just over time into my regular Friday live streams. Um, but I thought this would be a great one to end on if it did end up being the last one, uh, because a lot of the other health issues that we've covered, I've learned that those conditions themselves often then lead to depression and anxiety and stress and
Mhm.
gosh, panic attacks and OCD, and
Oh yeah.
that the person might never have had to deal with if
Mhm.
it wasn't for this chronic physical thing that
Right.
came up, or this acute, even just serious physical thing that came up. And it's just been such a reminder of how the body works all together. You can't just say, oh well, it's just that you just have stomach problems, or you're just tired, or
Mhm.
I just think it's been a great reminder that the human machine is meant to work all together. Everything is supposed to work together and be healthy overall, that you can't just focus on one part of it.
Exactly.
So multi-hunter Nick says he struggles with anxiety. Yeah, again, I feel like depression and anxiety, in my own mind, those are like the
Mhm.
top, probably 95% of people do struggle or have struggled with them. I feel like I had
Yeah.
a poll up in the chat. I don't know if that poll is there because I don't remember if the polls stay active for the duration of the chat. But if you guys didn't respond to that poll, let me know. It was just a simple question: have you struggled with depression, anxiety, or another mental health issue? So if you're in the chat and that's something you've had to deal with, it doesn't put your name up there. It just tells me how many people responded, and that gives me a breakdown. Right now, the breakdown with 14 people responding, 71% of people have struggled with depression, anxiety, or another mental health issue, and the remaining 29% have not. So No, again, no points off. If you're struggling, it means you're human.
Yep.
It means you're like the rest of us that have struggled. And today's show is just to remind you that you're not alone. You can get help. There is help. There's nothing out there that anyone might be dealing with that cannot be helped. There's nothing. There really, literally, there's nothing. I know sometimes when you're in the middle of it, it's so easy to feel like you're the only one. No one would understand. There's no way anybody's ever done this or lived this or felt this or thought this or believed this or dreamed about this. It doesn't work that way. You're not alone. That's probably one of the biggest hurdles for people getting help, is feeling like no one else has done it or lived it or knows it or could understand it. So let go of that. And the first step, as Mary Jo said, of letting go of that might just be talk to someone about it. Find someone, talk to someone, and get it out. That's the first step. So respond to the poll. Thank you for being here, Mary Jo.
Thank you for having me.
Love and blessings to you and the family. I cherish every picture that you post on your Facebook page. My mind is blown. The passing of time doesn't make sense to me. And I really do feel like it goes faster and faster the older we get.
Yeah.
And I'm only feeling a little left out because you have the 8 grandkids with just the 3 kids, and I have the 8 grandkids with all 4 kids. So I don't know if Gerald's going to give me any grandkids or not. But I just, again, every picture you post, I'm just instantly transported back to, believe it or not, to just our history together and, what you have represented to me for so much of my life. I thank you for being here today. I thank you for talking with my audience and encouraging us. Yeah, that's what it's about. I knew it would be an encouragement for people to be reminded that there's help. So you are welcome to, if you want to still hang out in the green room, you can. If you need to run, you can. If you want to just go to the chat, you can. I'm going to do some channel stuff now for the remainder of the show. And then the dogs are all sleeping right now, but usually I time this just right where then it's time for them to go out and take a potty break by the time I end the show. So I'm guessing, it looked like somebody might be getting ready to leave. Okay, no, someone is greeting someone else that came in. Anyway, so I'm going to let you go. Again, love and blessings to you. Thank you for being here today, and stay cool.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Right, bye-bye.
All right, that was my friend Mary Jo Cochrum. She is a counselor and an EMDR certified therapist here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We know each other from the old days back in Arlington. Got married around the same time, had our babies all around the same time. She actually recorded the birth of my 4th child. So she was with me in the delivery room when Stacy was born. And I don't know where that recording is. I don't know where that ended up. It was on VHS. That's how old this stuff is. But that was the relationship we had back in the day, that she was even there with me. And Stacy was born at 2:40 in the morning. So that's who Mary Jo was to me, that I could call her, at 2:00 in the morning and say, we are headed to the hospital, because she had already agreed to videotape it for me. And then all these years later, we really only stay connected through Facebook. So I don't see her. I'm sure there've been, a couple of weddings or funerals over the years where we've seen each other because we've been honoring or remembering somebody that way. But I just knew when I thought about doing this Invisible Illness series that she's someone I wanted to reach out to share with us about mental illness. Definitely a lot of potential there for there to be some invisible things going on. So many people that you meet in your daily lives or even just out on the street in the checkout line at Walmart are struggling with something, and you won't know because there's no outward sign, but they're just sick inside, and it makes me sad. It's frustrating to me at times, partly because, again, I know that there's not enough awareness. There's much more awareness now. As she said, things have gotten a lot better, but it's not enough still. So I want to help spread awareness. I want, again, all of you to remember You're not alone in your struggles. It's not a sign of weakness that maybe you're hurting or stressed or anxious, or you have another mental issue that you are battling. Okay. That's what this is about. So reach out to Mary Jo if you need a referral to somewhere, or if you're in the area and she can work with you. And now let's get to some channel info. Let me bring up my spreadsheet. We'll talk about some channel stats right quick. All right. So starting with Nina and Boyce at Rooted in Texas. They are at 887 subscribers today. Ordered Steps is holding on to those 1,320 something subscribers. My friend Akashi Chris, who was in the chat at least a little while ago, is at 480 today. My friend Byron at 12 Stones Ranch, Texas neighbor of ours, is holding on to 1,680 something subscribers. And just as a reminder, Byron has been here to the house. He's met the animals. He had dinner with us. Same thing with Akashi Chris and her husband Stuart. They have been here. They have physically been here to visit us and meet the animals. And we had pizza together when they came. And it was the beginning of a journey for me that reminded me that YouTube can result in real relationships. You know, it's not just about quote unquote an audience or viewers, that there are real friendships and relationships that happen when we connect here. I treasure all of you. I appreciate all of you because of that. Because even if you've never been here to my home to have a meal or meet the animals or all of the above, I feel like I have a relationship with you. You're someone I know. You're someone, you know, that's just beyond, again, a viewer or a subscriber or channel member. And I appreciate that. It's my favorite part of YouTube. Hello, Joe Hupp. How are you? I was just telling Mary Jo, my guest, that I did have viewers in Australia. So I'm tickled to see you here today. Let's get back to my list. Jesse and Lisa at Lazy Days Ahead with Jesse and Lisa are at 1,500, again, 10 to 19 something. Butler Family Farm, Jerry and Susan are at 1,830 something today. My friend David Hunt is at 611 today. And Mark at Corner Clubhouse Cobalt is at 1,260 something today. My friend Lee from the UK is at 1,230 something subscribers. My friend Adam Sky, also from the UK, is at 336. Our Texas neighbors and friends Back to Country Homestead, Jeff and Lorena, are at 787. My friend Amanda at Bare Bones Living is at 761. My friend Bearded Eagle is at 1,320 something today. My friend Ashley at CNC Farm is at 2,100, 10 to 19, something between that range. You guys, we still need to be helping her with watch hours. Please go to her channel, crank up a playlist, and let's help her get to the watch hours she needs. My friend Tiffany at Canadian Family Life is at 1,560 something subscribers. She was in the chat earlier. If she's still here, maybe she can give us the exact number. My friend Heather, also in Australia, is at 1,030 something today. Danielle at Danny Days Ahead is holding on to her 1,080 something subscribers. Dawn Ray B is at 541 subscribers today. Brittany and Big K at Flannel Hill Farm are at 267. Jen and Steve at Good Times Homestead with Jen and Steve are at 1,030 something today. My friend John at Home Bartending with John is at 401 today. My friend Peter Tragos at Lawyer You Know is at 264,000 subscribers today. I just want to say again, I'm going to have to go back and look, but I think Peter was like at 65,000 subscribers when he was on the show last year. It was around his birthday. I think it was shortly after his birthday. I think his birthday's in October, and I think he was on the early part of November. And I think he was like at 65. I think that's right. I'm going to have to go back and look. But every time I see his numbers, you can't see my jaw drop, but I just feel like my jaw drops because to talk about taking off. But that's how great the channel is. So check it out. My friend Katie at Mayfield Ranch is at 1,190 something today. Millionaire Paul at Millionaire Paul the Millionaire Challenge in the UK is at 290. We are still a sponsor of the channel right now. So if you go visit his videos, which please go visit his videos, we have a video, a couple of our videos that play right up in the top left corner of the screen throughout the duration of his video as a channel sponsor. And I got at least one subscriber because someone sent me a message that they found me at Paul's channel because I'm a sponsor of the channel. And they subscribed to Rich Cat Ranch. So if you are a content creator, that's something to look into. It's a very affordable and fun way to help another channel while potentially growing your own channel. So go to Millionaire Paul's channel, get the details on how to become a sponsor for his channel. I just think it's a very innovative and clever way to make a little money on YouTube before any of us ever might really make any money on YouTube. And it's just fun to see, your little sponsorship video up there, and you can pick whatever video of yours that you want to play on whichever part of the screen you get as the sponsor. Mountain Grandma, Tammy at Mountain Grandma is at 893 today. Tiffany at Mud and Mascara Homestead is at 531. My friend Nick at Multi-Hunter 24/7, Texas neighbors of ours, who is in the chat today, is at 1,060. Let me put up this message that he just put in the chat. We need to be helping him with watch hours. It is so easy, and it's such a blessing for the content creators when people will go to a channel, watch the videos. Again, most of the channels that need the watch hours have created playlists. You can just go to the playlists tab on their about or on their homepage and pull up a playlist and just start playing it. You can open another tab or another browser or however you do it. If you need to be working on something or you want to check your email or read the news or work on something on your own channel, it is so easy to just leave that other thing running. You do have to have the volume on. You can't hit the mute button. Let me see if Nick's got a playlist I can put in the chat for you guys. Pull that up right quick. If I could talk and type and read that screen at the same time, I would do that. But pardon the pauses. Let's see. I'm going to find a playlist. Okay, here's an all playlist. Let me get that link shared. So easy, guys. And I'm not kidding. It is such a blessing. It is such a blessing. It's such an easy way to help. Let me put what this is. All right. In the chat is a link for Nick's channel. I'll put it up on the screen, but I know you can't click it when it's on the screen. So look for that in the chat. Click that link. Go and run that playlist. I have been known to, like, some people have playlists. I think my master playlist is probably like 5 or 6 days long. If you really just let it run 24/7 and you never shut it off, it would take you, I haven't updated the time in a while. I think it's like 5 or 6 days long. So I don't expect anyone to really play all of those. But as I've said before, a lot of times I will start a playlist for someone who needs the watch hours, and I just let it run all night. I might do that for a couple of nights in a row. So it's running. My computer's in here playing that playlist at a low volume so that it's not disturbing anyone's sleep, to help them with the watch hours. If I get up to go to the bathroom, I'll sometimes come in and like the video, maybe put a little comment or something, just again to help with engagement, help YouTube realize that I'm a real person and that I really do appreciate that content creator and his or her channel. But just getting those watch hours, so easy. Doesn't take anything beyond clicking a link and letting a playlist play. So consider that. Consider that for Nick. He needs the watch hours. Ashley needs the watch hours. I think I posted a link in last week's chat for Ashley. If not, it was the week before. But if I don't have a link posted in a video and I tell you that they need the watch hours, you can always go to their channel, go to their playlists. If they have a master playlist, that's ideal. If there's something in particular on their channel that you would like to run the playlist, gardening or cooking or crafts or whatever it might be, Run that. Every little bit helps. And if enough of us are doing a little bit at a time, it all adds up really quickly and makes a huge difference for the channels that are putting so much effort into creating a way to make a little bit of income while having fun and entertaining their viewers. So you guys do that for me. Do that for Nick. All right. So Nick is at 1,060 something today. My friend Ginger at Not For Nothing Homestead is at 1,040 something today. Our friends Devin and Ryan still just blowing and going, y'all. They're at 5,070 something today. My friend Nancy at Our Treasured Home is at 1,130 something. And anybody that's in my chat, or if you leave me a comment after the stream ends, so if you're part of the rewatch crew and you are a content creator, let me know in your comment that you need watch hours. I am happy to post on my community tab. I'm happy to share in the chat for future live streams that you need the watch hours. Okay, Dancing Alone with Reynolds, thanks for being here today. As always, thank you. Yeah, no, we all know that 4-letter word. You be safe, stay cool, and I'll hope to see you in the next live. I'm making sure I haven't missed anyone else that has said they need watch hours. If you said it and I didn't mention it, post it again. Obviously, all of us can always use subscribers and likes and shares and comments, okay? That's across the board. Even the channels with 267,000 or whatever it was subscribers, we all need that same thing. That never goes away. But for those that are looking to create a source of income and be financially rewarded for the time and effort and energy and creativity it takes to come up with video ideas and then get them all edited and music put with it and posted and uploaded on the channel, y'all can be a bigger blessing than you could possibly realize. All right. So Nancy at Our Treasured Home, 1,130. Stephen at Pawpaw's Kitchen, holding on to 333. And I'm getting kind of worried. I don't know if any of you guys might know him. I have not heard back yet from him. And he was doing so well and the videos were going up so consistently that it's not possible for me to not worry now that something's wrong. Sometimes people will post in their community tab, or you just sort of learn through the grapevine that they're taking a break, or they're going to go travel. Boys, they're going to go travel Europe or whatever, and they're going to be away from the computer or away from the channel for a little while. I do encourage you, if you're going to take a break, to let your viewers know so that people don't worry about you and so that they don't leave your channel thinking that you've gone away and you're not coming back and you're not interested in growing. So I don't know yet. I haven't heard back from Pawpaw's Kitchen yet. My friend Shane at Paralife TV, your everyday wheelchair ninja, another Canadian friend, is at 2,040 something. John Pedroza at Pedroza Travel in California is at 1,120 something. I did hear back from him after I messaged to check on him when the hurricane and the earthquake happened simultaneously in California earlier this week. Talk about a bad week. I really shouldn't complain about the heat here because wow. I mean, it was historic. I want to say I heard that the hurricane that hit California was the first one in like 120 years or something. It's not something that happens there. We all know the earthquakes happen, but a hurricane that's so rare and then an earthquake at the same time that the hurricane was hitting. It just, I don't know what kind of sign that is, but that is mind-boggling to me. But I did hear from him. Everything is fine. Ronnie and Brittany, they were preparing. Everything was fine. We'll get to them here in a minute, but those are the California friends that we have here at the channel that had to go through the crazy weather this week. So Pedroza Travel is at 1,120 something today. My friend Dr. Lund, Psychology Noir with Dr. Lund, is holding on to the 1,040 something subscribers. Wes and Jess at Rich New Design are at 525 today. Again, Ronnie and Brittany at Ronnie and Brittany RV Story. They're at 744. My friend David at Safe and Sound Texas Audio Excursion is at 2,860 something. My friend Shannon at Shanster Travels is at 681. My friend Sparrow Spalding is holding on to her 1,440 something subscribers. Kenny and Debbie at the Adventures of Kenny and Debbie are at 777. Okay, is that a lucky number or is that a lucky number? So maybe they should go buy a lottery ticket. My friend Angela at the Inquisitive Farm Wife is at 1,930 something. My friend Dino at the Late Late Horror Show still in that 1,001 or at that 113,000 subscriber level. My friend Tom Salta holding on to 1,010 to 1,019. Two Doves Bees and Gardens, John and Sarah are at 1,710 to 19. Oh, did I go too far? No. There we go. The Vineyard Chicks are at 4,630 something subscribers. Webb's Web holding on to 1,040 something. My friend Robin at What the Flock is at 585. And Steve Robson at Wild Macro Art still holding on to his 24 subscribers. I just want to remind everyone again, for those of you who are content creators, that when you leave the channel, and you don't post that you're taking a break or you're having a baby or you're not going to have internet or I don't know, whatever, to let us know why you're gone, the danger there is always that your channel could shrink, that people could stop coming by because they're not finding new content to watch and they don't know if you're even still around because there's no message or update or FYI to let them know. And there's just so much to choose from on YouTube. There are so many active channels. There's so much great stuff to enjoy that it's just a danger that over time people will just stop checking in. And then, YouTube has that weird system that if over time people are not engaging with your channel, I don't know exactly how it works, but I do know it's happened. Because I've had it happen to me where I'm subscribed to someone's channel and then I don't see content for a while and I stop visiting after a while because I've watched everything they have already. And then I go back for whatever reason and, think, hey, I wonder if there's anything new on their channel. And I see that I'm not subscribed anymore. So something does potentially happen frequently where if people are not engaging with your channel and you're not getting views and you're not getting comments and likes and shares and subscribers, that YouTube starts taking away subscribers. Some people may unsubscribe on their own. I don't know that I've done that. I might have sometime subscribed to somebody like based on one video and then I go back and look at their channel and then it's not really something I'm into and then I might unsubscribe. It's none of y'all. But, some like a great big channel and maybe I'll see a short. That's one of the dangers of shorts. But just keep that in mind. If you're a content creator, consistency is key. Even if it's just once a month, if you're just posting something once a month, make sure you post it once a month because people will come to expect it and they'll visit you expecting something new. And if after a while they don't see anything, they can kind of lose interest. And that's just natural. That's just how it goes. And nothing personal against the creator or the channel itself, but there's so much else to spend time with that, I already feel like a lot of times I'll have a bunch of stuff in my subscriptions list and I don't even know the last time I went to look at it because I saw something neat 3 years ago and just haven't been back. I don't know why YouTube doesn't take those subscriptions away. So I as I already said, I don't know exactly how it works, but that's my little soapbox again for the content creators out there about how important it is to not just focus on subscriber counts. It's an easy way to measure, and it's a fun way to see that new people are visiting the channel and watching your content, but it's not the most important way to grow the channel. It really isn't. I say that as I'm so thrilled every time I have a short that does well and I get 7 new subscribers out of it. But I don't have a way to know. Well, I think there are things you can look at in YouTube analytics now that tell you what other stuff they watched on the channel. I just need to study that more. So yeah, that being said, I am really close to 2,300 subscribers. I'm going to check it right now because I wonder, I wonder where I am right now. Hang on, let me go to my analytics tab. Okay, I'm at 2,285 subscribers as of this moment. So I'm not going to pretend like it's not exciting to think about hitting 2,300 subscribers. I don't know what it is about the number. What is it about the number? It was just as exciting when I hit 100 subscribers. I remember how excited I was to hit 100 subscribers. And then when we did, the 500 subscribers, because back in the day, you couldn't get your community tab unless you had 500 subscribers. So I remember how exciting that was. And then 1,000 subscribers, when that happened, I just couldn't believe it. I never thought that would happen. And then we got 2,000 subscribers. I never thought that would happen. So now here I am watching the number, hoping for the 2,300 subscribers. And if you guys are not enjoying the shorts that I'm putting up, please check those out. I have so much fun creating those. And for the most part, it's our animals here. It's stuff, video stuff that I capture here. I just, for the first time this month, I used a clip. I think last week, one of the shorts that went out, it was a clip from the Andy Griffith Show. And I had shared that clip on my Facebook years ago, something that I thought was interesting. I won't give it away, but you guys check that out. And then I also found like a royalty-free clip that I am using in a super short that's coming up. It might be the beginning of September. I've got my shorts scheduled out through the 6th of September. And it's the first time I've used a clip that I did not record. Because even the Andy Griffith one, I recorded it while I was watching the episode. Went back and recorded it after I saw this thing that happened that I thought was interesting. So I'm playing with that. I learned recently about, now I knew about this, Flicky, Fliki, because I looked at that once upon a time when I was looking for a voiceover. You know, I don't mind my voice, but I don't like my voice a lot of times. Those of you that don't know, when I've done all my cover songs, I don't like to hear myself sing. I don't know. I've never liked hearing myself sing. Is that sad? Because I love to sing. I love music. I love singing for people, but I don't necessarily like my voice. I don't know what to do with that. I'm not going to do anything with that. That's just me. I'll get over it or I won't. Kudos to all the people that have been so encouraging and supportive about that. But so some of the shorts that I do, I'll have text on the screen, but as I'm learning more about shorts, more elements a lot of times means more engagement and more people that will watch and like and subscribe. And so I've played with these different services where you can get an AI voice to say the words for you. So Flicky does that, and I think I might have used that once or twice before. But there's all kinds of stuff that Flicky can do. So y'all check that out. If you haven't done shorts yet, you might enjoy. Again, it's Fliki. I think it's just flicky.com. And there's a free service. Oh, I guess I could have capitalized that. There's levels, so you can pay, I don't know, $7 a month or whatever and get, I don't know, because I'm just doing the free thing. Or you can pay $20 a month and you get some other stuff. But just the more I've learned about, growing the channel and coming up with video ideas, and that's one of the things I came across. So I played with that for a couple of the videos that are going up since the beginning of August into that one that's going to be up like the beginning of September. So you guys might try that out. That could be fun. And then I'd love for you to report to me what you did with it and how it worked for you. I'll have to check out all your shorts, Connie. I'll have to check those out. So what else did I need to tell you? I don't think there's anything else I needed to tell you. I know when I looked at that weather app on my phone, so I showed y'all the temperature today, but I don't think I showed you. Let me see if it's even still there. Well, it is, but the percentage has gone down. So down here, see how it shows the percentage chance of rain? Oh, there's a glare. There's a glare from that door. So we have a very small percentage chance of rain this weekend into Monday. But those percentages were higher when I looked earlier today. I think it was like 22% for one of the days. But that's happened. Like every day I look at it and it'll show that 3 or 4 days out there's a 8% chance of rain. By the end of the day, it's 0. They're good little watchdogs. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to do a rain dance. That's gonna be my next research thing, is doing a rain dance. There's a video idea, huh? I'm not a dancer, but if it got us some rain, I'll take one for the team. If I can come up with a good rain dance video to share with y'all, and we actually get some rain out of it. So, I hope you guys are not sweltering wherever you are. I hope you're at least getting enough rain that your gardens and outdoor plants and animals are not drying up. I'm having to change out, again, duck water a little more frequently than usual, just because they don't have the pond in the back to enjoy. And I'm having to ice the water, put my frozen water bottles in, just because it's so hot. And I don't guess they mind. I don't know. But I'll literally go out there and like stick my finger in their water. And, it's got to be like 110 degree water. Who would want to drink that? Who would want to float in that? Now, a duck has a body temperature, a natural healthy body temperature for a duck is 107 degrees. So for them, that means that, 110 degrees outside doesn't necessarily feel as drastic as it does to a 98.6 degree body temperature person or being. At least that's how I like to look at it, because they don't seem to be stressed out. I'll find them panting sometimes, so I know they are affected by the heat, but they're smart enough to know to stay in the shade. And again, we've got baby pools and like litter boxes, big litter boxes out there, along with bowls and buckets and things. And so it's not unusual. And the little pond that they have in their duck yard. So it's not unusual to just find them sitting in receptacles. They're just sitting in a bowl or a bucket, or a tub or a little kiddie pool. So they know how to keep themselves cool. And then Cabo and Delilah, they know where the shady spots are. They either stay under some shade trees or they're in the barn. We've got fans in the barn. And then again, we ice down their water. They've got a 16-gallon bucket that we'll put a gallon frozen jug of water in, and it does cool it down nicely for them, because they can be a little bit persnickety about drinking water that's too warm or too cold. That's why we have to have a heater in the winter here, because the water does freeze over at the top, but also because they're a little bit picky about the temperature. Let's see what Connie says here. We had a bad storm come through last night. It came from Michigan, and EF1 tornado hit Cleveland, Ohio late last night. Wow. So if I remember though, right, Connie, you guys have had some bad weather off and on for the last couple of weeks. I want to say a week or 10, 12 days ago, even, I remember seeing a big storm system on the radar that looked like it was going to go that way. And I'm not saying I would want tornadoes or dangerous weather, but we've got to get some rain at some point. This is it's dangerously dry here. Aside from the fact that it's costing more because we're having to water the garden and all the potted plants and change out the duck water and stuff so much. So it's just stressful any way you look at it. But I think that's all I have for today. I don't think there's a whole lot exciting coming up on the channel. Again, I mentioned in the video that just went out on Wednesday when I shared with you guys that I can't say I figured out what was going on with the mic, but because I was doing something else and my editing software could not find my microphone, I thought, okay, that's what's going on then with not being able to access it for StreamYard. So I think it wasn't the camera necessarily that StreamYard couldn't use, but because it couldn't find this microphone, this podcast mic, I think it was just saying that it couldn't access them. It must lump them together. So once I got that figured out, it looks like everything is working now. But in that video, I just shared with you that I have some ideas for some stuff I want to do. You never know, hit or miss. They're going to be fun to make, I think. And let me announce here, I'll put a post on my community tab. So not next week. I may not do a stream next week. I don't have anyone lined up as a guest, and it's Labor Day weekend, so maybe I'll just kind of take that day off. But the following Friday, right now I don't have a guest lined up. I am still waiting to hear back from Canine Arlo because he does want to be on the show. The rest of my September Fridays are booked now. So the 8th is still open if he wants to take that. If he's not going to take that, or if he takes that, then maybe next Friday I will do this. I just think I need a little more time to prepare. So I'll announce here, I'm going to be looking for 3 people who would be willing to be on screen with me, kind of like co-hosts for, it'll be like a quiz show. I don't know if you guys ever listen to NPR, but there's a show on NPR called Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. I love that show. And some of the things they do on that show I think would be fun to put in a video, in a live stream. And so we'll have the 3 people that are helping with the show, and then we'll have a contestant or 2. You know, I might do a contestant for the first part of the show and then a second contestant, or we might have multiple contestants. And then based on how they do, there'll be a prize, which will probably be a gift card. I think I have 1 RichKatRanch water bottle here. That'd be nice too to put it off in the future, a couple weeks. Maybe I can order some more merch. But for sure I could do gift cards again. And we'll have prizes based on if the people, score enough during the show. But the big thing is going to be to find 3 people. I'd like it to be content creators just because it might be a fun opportunity for you to introduce yourself to some viewers. You can talk a little bit about your channel, and then we'll get our little quiz going. And obviously the details on that I'll share with whoever's going to be on the show with me. It might be something I do regularly. So for the first time, I'm still just sort of fleshing out how it's going to work. But you can look up the Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me show that NPR does to see some of the things they do, because I think we could have some fun with that. And since I don't have a guest every Friday, it's something I could do on some of the Fridays that I don't have somebody to interview. So let me know. Let me put up my email address. So this email address, if you want to be on the show and just do an interview, we'll talk about your channel. Hey, if you have an invisible illness and you want to talk to us about that, again, I can put those in anywhere. This doesn't have to be the last one today. I had a whole lot of other things on my list that I thought might be, good opportunities to educate and raise awareness and just let people know they're not alone. But I know not everybody wants to come on screen and talk about that stuff. Super, super grateful for the people that have come on to share for this series. It turned out so much better than I even thought it was going to be. And it's because of the people that agreed to be guests on the show. So many thanks to those people. But if you want to be on the show, to talk about your channel and be interviewed, meet some new potential viewers and subscribers, email me here. If you're interested in being one of 3, I think I need to have 3 content creators to be like my co-hosts for the quiz show. Also, send me a message here. It'll still serve some of the same purposes to connect you with new people, let them put a face with a channel name. And so there could be some great marketing and growth opportunities there for you. Also, you'd still need to email me at that email address. As before, if you need somebody to talk to, if you're struggling with something, I'm not going to say I would have any answers, but I can sure listen and offer some encouragement. Email me there. I'm happy to send a phone number if I need to send you a phone number if you'd rather talk or text. That's a standing offer anytime anyone might need me. And then again, as far as visiting other channels to help them grow, when you're considering subscribing to a channel, boys, Cooper. That's funny. One of the little dogs' name is Cooper. Y'all may remember our boy Cooper that crossed over in March last year. But he was a big German Shepherd dog. Anyway, so always watch a video or 2 that's at least 3 minutes long before you subscribe. Again, I don't think YouTube takes away like these shorts subscribers, but those people tend to come back and they just want to watch shorts. So it doesn't necessarily hurt the subscriber count. It just doesn't get you any watch hours. So always watch a video that's at least 3 minutes long. I like to watch a couple of them, or I start somebody's playlist and then I subscribe after I've liked a few videos and made some comments. Encourage you to hit that like button before you leave today. Share the video with your friends. Again, leave me comments in the comment section under this if you're part of the Rewatch crew. Those things go a long way into encouraging YouTube to promote videos. That's how that works, if I understand right. When they see that people are engaging with a channel, engaging with a video, the more they see that, the more likely they are to put that video in somebody's recommended list. And so again, for videos like today, if somebody looked up something about depression or anxiety or mental health, then if YouTube sees that people watched this video, people liked this video, people commented on this video, and maybe some of those people shared this video, maybe some people subscribed to the channel because they saw this video or while they were watching this video, then YouTube is more inclined to put this video among the recommended videos for people that might be searching for similar topics. I think that's how that works. So thanks to all of you that do those things already for me. And other than that, that is it. I will see you for sure on the 8th. I'll be watching for emails from anybody that might be interested in helping me try out this quiz show idea that I want to do. And I know we'll have fun with it. It won't be like a super hard thing to do. Again, it's going to be fun, but we'll know when it happens. And stay cool. Be safe, be happy, be well, be blessed. I love you all. I love you all. I appreciate you all. I thank everyone who stops by to watch the video live and after the stream ends, when you're watching, later today or tomorrow or whenever you might see it. I thank you for that. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to the channel. And I'll see you on the next live. Obviously, I'll see you in the videos that may go up between now and the next live. And pray for rain. Right? Chat will be open for a little while so you guys can say your farewells. Let me see. It looks like I missed a comment. Okay, Connie's checking out. Love you guys. Again, take care, and I will see you either next Friday or the Friday after that. Bye, friends.